Let me make this clear. Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be a man?
Most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them. If they try and talk to a girl, they get blanked and ignored and told to Most men are absolutely and utterly invisible. This is the truth about masculinity, right? It's very easy for women to sit here and complain about the top 2% of men because I dealt with this guy, he's arrogant, blah, 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 blah. Most men don't even exist. They send 10,000 DMs and never even get read, let alone replied to. So if you just sit here and say, I'll get a G, a big G, a boss, a millionaire, and let him have a day off, very nice of you. I'm sure you would. Yeah. But if a guy who wanted to have days off all the time, he never would have got important enough in the first place to attract a woman like you. And that is the reality. As a man, it's player versus player. It's ultimately competitive. And as a man, you have to outcompete the other men who are prepared to get up and do it anyway. That's how it works. There's no such thing as saying, I'm sad, I need 2 weeks off. Not as a man if you want to be important. Maybe as a chick, you can always put more foundation on and be hot again. Great. Not as a man. If you want to be important as a man, you have shit to do. You have duties. This is how it exists. This is how it's always been.
And all the bad things, having the trauma, all the pain. You ain't a good man if you haven't had trauma. A man without trauma is a weakling.
Andrew, I've been stabbed with a knife before.
Congratulate. Good. Finally, something admirable. Good. See, now that's what I like to hear. So that's what I love to hear, because as a man, you need things that almost kill you and don't kill you. So I'm rich not because of money. I'm rich because I've been through a whole bunch of shit. Like, I don't see anyone else on the planet richer than me because they're either too old or their life's been too easy. Like, I've had a very, very unique life, very, very eclectic life. I was born with the best possible start a man can have, which is good parents and no money. I've made all of my money completely myself the hard way. None of this internet, Twitch, easy shit. I've done it hard. But yeah, I'm one of the richest men on the planet because of all the things I have that money cannot buy. My money's nothing, right? Money's easy. Like, once you're past 10 mil, let's say, there ain't nothing to buy. But the point is that once you get money, that's fine. But then I believe money is an amplifier. I don't believe money changes. I think it amplifies. So if you're a dork and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega dork. Whereas if you're a G and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega G.
So
I'll give you an example.
Amplifies your status.
It doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. If you see a Lamborghini pull up and a little nerd gets out, you think, oh, and super tech nerd, probably invented Stripe or something, he's a nerd. Whereas if you see a Lambo pull up and a big, strong, bald, whatever crazy dude gets out, you think, okay, he's a drug dealer. He's a mafia boss. The Lambo doesn't change what you think, it amplifies who the person is. Money is an amplifier, it doesn't change. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy that I was poor for a long time, because I never would have been able to learn the lessons I've learned if I was rich. I would have never been able to take those risks. I would have never been able to be in those situations. I've been stabbed just like you. I'll show you my scar. So I would never have been able to been put through hell if I had money. So I'm very glad I was poor for a very long time. And the reason I'm the richest person on the planet is not because of the amount of money I have, it's because of all the shit that happened to me when I was poor. You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game. I used to play the old one on the PlayStation 1 when I was a child. But I've never played any of those games, but I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like, my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn, that's...
But if you get some balls, that's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game, you start with 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and fuck about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do.
You're right.
If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all of that. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing, which is why I have very little pity when I do these streams and people think I'm arrogant or I'm rude to people, or even to you earlier when I was making jokes and I've been joking with the girls,
You're
saying
good,
drink the soy latte.
I'm not, yeah.
Of course, and I know we're only joking, right? But the point is, that's a conscious decision you made. I would never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. I wouldn't make fun of someone born with one
I
eye.
have a choice though.
But if you've made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that decision.
I agree. I
didn't
feel
make
like,
that.
yeah, because like you're not living up to your full potential. Like it's your choice to basically not live up to your full potential.
Completely. And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet?
Damn.
Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your neck. That's the world.
We're living inside of a video game. Because in a video game, you're going to go through trial and tribulation. You're going to struggle to upgrade your character. And the reason you upgrade your character is when you get more stats, you can complete more difficult levels within the game. Life is exactly the same. The levels never end, but as you become better, you stand a better chance of completing. So as you upgrade your character, you get further and further in the game, but the game never ends. That's the beauty of being a man. All these men are out here complaining that things are difficult. The reason it has value is because it's difficult. If it was easy, everyone would have it and it wouldn't have any value. Complain that it's hard to get a Lambo. The reason having a Lambo is cool is because nobody has a Lambo. How are you going to complain that it's hard to be the man, but then also understand that being the man has value? They are linked. You cannot separate the two. It's a logic fail. If you love the fact, if you love the idea of being that character you dream of yourself to be, then you should love the fact it's hard to become that man because it means no one else can do it. There's no light without dark. You will not appreciate your six-pack unless you didn't have one and you had to earn it. That's how the world works. So when I talk to these dudes like, oh, but it's, you know what, Tate, yeah, I agree, but you know, it's hard. It's hard. Of course it is. It's supposed to be. And if you're not cut out for it, then go off and live a normal existence and die. Sit there, letting other men enjoy the spoils of being a man and die. If that's what you want to do, is just sit there and exist and then you fade into history unremembered. That's your decision. If you want to level up your character, then you need to get out here and do it. You need to get your network together, humble yourself, stop sitting there with an ego, realize you ain't you're nothing but lucky. Bacteria could have stole your eyesight at the age of 3, and it didn't. You could have been in a car crash and lost both your parents. Never happened. You've been nothing but lucky. Blind luck has given you a favorable hand. Most of the time, you don't feel like doing the things you're supposed to do. But the true masculine frame throughout history was doing the things they didn't want to do, but they knew they had to do because they had honor and duty. That's what honor and duty means.
I've always been rich, but I'm not just rich because of money. You have to understand, I'm rich because of a bunch of things that money cannot buy. Like, I know there's people with lots of money, but they don't have the network I have. They don't have the brotherhood I have. Just sitting with my boys, knowing that if it comes to, if the bullets start flying, me and my 10 friends, we all die or no one dies. Having that brotherhood, having women who would literally, you could go to jail for 10 years and they would wait for you. They exist for you and only you, completely and utterly. You are their entire universe. I've got every single gift that God can give, plus all the gifts you can make yourself. And I state that without arrogance. I don't mean to be arrogant, but I am a realist. And as a realist, it would be absolutely unprofessional for me to sit here and pretend I'm not an exceptional human being. Because I am. And a lot of those things I did myself. And some of them were God-given. But the ones that weren't God-given was because I put myself through hell. I put myself through hell because I decided to throw comfort away. For 10 years of my life, I was never comfortable. Men are not supposed to be comfortable.
Yeah,
my friend.
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
You're sitting here on Twitch. You're comfortable, right?
I am.
If you were born 100 years ago and it was the 1920s, you'd be in some ditch in northern France, living in the mud, hoping not to get killed by a random sniper. Then you'd come home and hope your wife hasn't been bombed.
Yo!
You understand? That's the world. The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars, dying. Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want.
I was 21 years of age. This is not long ago. 21 years of age. Yesterday was my birthday. And me and Andrew, what do we eat on my birthday?
KFC.
Why did we eat KFC? Because when I was 21, me and Andrew used to have no food. I used to drive my broken Volkswagen Golf to the KFC restaurant in Dunstable, United Kingdom, and I used to sit in my car. And you couldn't ever eat anyone's leftover food if they ever had their mouth on it. But at KFC, they used to buy buckets. And I would sit and wait for people to sit outside, eat their meal, and leave the bucket on the table. And I used to go and take that bucket, 3 or 4 pieces of chicken. And I used to collect 20, 30, 40 pieces of chicken that were perfectly fine left in the buckets. And I used to go home and I used to freeze that chicken. And me and Andrew would break it up, put it in our rice. And that was our meal. That's what sustained us for that hard year. That year we had when I was 21 and you were 22. That's how broke we were. I used to scavenge chicken from KFC because I thought, fuck it, I'm not dying and I'm losing my kickboxing fights because I don't have enough protein. What am I going to do to make it through the day? That's how broke I was. And that's a sad story if you never make it out. To me, that's a happy story. That's a story of triumph. Now it's like, hey, Andrew, it's my birthday. What we doing? KFC? And it's a big joke. And we sit there eating our KFC laughing about how we used to scavenge KFC chicken. So we weren't really poor because Dad was a chess master. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So yeah, what's actually quite amazing is I became, like, we're going to go into the Twitch guys soon because I was talking to these Twitch guys. These Twitch kids I'm talking to now, they're making millions and millions of dollars. And that's why if anyone watched my recent stream with Aiden Ross, he's actually a good guy. He's a nicer guy than I thought he was.
Switched on.
But he's like, am I fat? I'm like, for 21 with all your money? Yeah, you could have the best gym, the best personal trainer. You have all the time in the world. You are ridiculously out of shape for your scenario. We had to become world champion. I became world champion. Tristan became European champion. And like he said, we didn't have enough protein in our fucking diet. We're sitting there eating rice every day thinking this is the cheapest thing we can eat. We have no fucking money. But we need some meat. How can we get meat? I became world champion without even fucking food. And you got these kids with millions and millions and millions. He ain't even got a six-pack. It's fucking embarrassing. That's why I had to tell him, and I'm still going to tell him to the rest of his life. I said, bro, and this one saying I'm glad I was broke when I was young, because if I was rich back then, with my mindset, I would have been an even better kickboxer. But these kids who make all this money and they don't do shit, it's ruined them. Now they're just soft. They're going to stay soft. Life's been too easy. They've had no trauma, no struggle. If you want to be a man, you need to go through some real shit, and you have to go through some trauma and use it, internalize it, and that's what turns you into a man. Yeah. If you're a man who's never had hard times, you're not a very good man. Any man who's had an easy life is going to fall and collapse in the face of adversity.
Before the internet, did you ever know a 20-year-old self-made millionaire?
No.
No. These kids aren't supposed to have this much money. They're dumbasses. They're children. Before the internet, the idea that you could become a self-made millionaire at 21 was absolutely impossible. No one would even take you seriously in a business meeting. It couldn't be done. But now it can be done. So you're giving all these kids money and clout and attention. What do you think they're doing with it? Dumb shit. Gambling, drugs, buying girls presents, hanging around with hoes, stupid shit. They're literally lost. Their souls are lost. Their hearts and minds are lost. They don't have any experience. What did we say earlier that money amplifies? We're amplifying children. What do you think they're going to do with it? Children shit. They're clowns, all of them. Every single person I've ever spoken to on Twitch, without exception, is a clown. None of them are serious people. They don't take themselves seriously. They don't take their income seriously. They're not even smart enough to sit and go, I'm making all this money at 21. Let me really buckle down for a few years and set myself up for life. No, they're too busy fucking, oops, I'm late. Oops, I was drunk yesterday. Cancel stream. Oops. They are children. Total dummies. All of them.
Have you seen any of them adopt any of the advice or any of the teachings that you've provided?
I have faith in Aiden. He's the only one I have some faith left in. So I'm trying hard with Aiden to show him that if I was his age with his kind of money, I would be so far ahead than I already am. Like, I couldn't even afford to fucking eat. The guy should at least be in shape. Get a personal trainer and get a dietitian. You have all the money in the world. Why are you out of shape? It's ridiculous. I'm trying to instill something in him, because if I can make him transform his life because of his popularity, it will genuinely inspire millions of children. So I am trying, and I am trying with a philanthropic goal, with a good heart. I have some faith in Aiden, but the rest of them are completely lost.
Young people, a lot of men say to me, especially, like, what's fun? And I'm saying, doing what you're supposed to do and fulfilling your duty and being proud of yourself is fun. That's the only fun you need. You don't need the fun of trying to chase all this garbage and this hedonism and this black hole. That doesn't lead anywhere.
Did you do that for a while?
For a while, yeah, certainly.
So did I.
You have to. Yeah. Until you get to a point where you realize, okay, this is never going to end. Am I going to continue to go down this path, or am I going to turn around and just skip it all?
Right.
Because it only ends badly. The youth are obsessed with fun. if you look at other societies, the youth are not so obsessed with what's fun today. What's fun now? I need fun now. I'm bored. I want fun. You know, they're overstimulated, whatever it is. They're also selfish. They're also self-obsessed with how they feel. This teaching a whole society and teaching a large contingent of the youth that how they feel plays paramount over the world. If you feel sad, that's all that matters. Not, well, I feel sad, but it doesn't matter because I'm doing the right thing. I feel depressed or I feel stressed, but it doesn't matter because I'm dedicating myself. No. What matters is how you feel right now, which means they only want to be happy all the time. And if you're going to only chase happiness and you don't have any particular skills, you're going to end up just chasing hedonism, and this is where you end up. And it's insanity. I think one of the largest tenets of masculinity for the largest period of human time is ignoring how you feel and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. We feel things, but jobs must be done, whether we are happy or sad. And this is also disappearing from the world. I'm stressed probably 6 days a week. I'm pissed off 6 days a week. But things need to be done.
Right.
So you just have to do them. It's actually interesting because I think humans, or maybe this is just me coping, maybe this is cope, but I think we're designed to struggle a bit. Because the closer you are to struggle, the more sensible you are. And gender roles all fix themselves in struggle, right? If you have 10 men and 10 women and they crash on a deserted island, the men do the man stuff, the women do the woman stuff. There's no discussion about gender roles because you're gonna die. Right. So the men have to go hunting, the women are gonna try and sew a blanket, whatever, because we're gonna die now. Right. So we don't have time to talk about whose job's what.
Right.
Also, if you meet somebody who's had a hard life, they seem to be pretty wise.
Yes.
It's difficult to find someone who's had a hard life who's a total idiot. So I think humans are supposed to struggle a bit.
Absolutely.
I know it's overused, but the hard times create good men create good times, and the good times create a bunch of weaklings, and they mess everything up.
Yeah, it goes to a point, and then it goes the opposite.
It goes the opposite way.
Yeah.
These people have had too easy lives for too long. People have had it too easy for too long, and none of them know any struggle at all. I mean, I don't know about you, honest with you. Like, I can almost crash my car 10 times. And I only slow down when I hit the tree. This is how I am. Like, I think that inside of the human psyche, sometimes you need to be shocked. You need to be hammered with something. That's just how it goes. Because until then, you're like, maybe. I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah, well, I got away with it.
Yeah. But when you finally learn your lesson, right? But there's a lot of these people out there who aren't being taught any lessons at all because they've never had any kind of difficulty in their life. And what is life without difficulty in the first place? What is life? What is the point of life without difficulty? One of the things that's comforted me in all my garbage is actually, I watched one of your videos, and I was watching one of your videos a couple years ago, and perhaps I'm wrong, you can correct me, but I don't think you regret any of the bad things that happened to you.
Not at all.
Because it makes you who you are. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's where you're gonna end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, etc., etc. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel self with your friends.
Because you only surround yourself around people that are on like your level of like.
I'm with killers. We're fucking monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious, and that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why you hang around with people you don't want to be? And that's why I live in a competitive environment. I live with my brother, my cousin. I live with men. We have a big house. We could all afford 10 houses each. We live together on purpose. If my brother does 500 push-ups, I ain't going to be the bitch at the house. I ain't going to not do them. That's because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky.
All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do that. He charges into the burning building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects for it and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. You need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You just suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of the problem you had, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, let me make this clear. Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be a man? And I say this and women go, oh yeah, dude, that as soon as most women encounter any kind of problem, the first thing they do is turn to a man. Their man, their dad, the mechanic, the police, a man. If you actually put a woman in front of a problem and go, no men, they're like, oh, whoa, fuck. It's a mental breakdown. Men, day after day, especially if you're a high-level man, let me make something clear from my life. I'll talk from personal experience. I'm not just looking after me. I'm not just looking after my chick. I'm the guy in about 300 people's phone books that they call when anything big goes wrong. You get arrested in Russia, you need extraction from Ukraine, you need $1 million, whatever it is, Kazakhstan, abduction, they call me. I'm the first phone call. I'm fixing 400 different lives. I'm a problem solver. Chicks can't fix any of this shit, right? This is how hard it is to be a man. And it's amazing because society expects it of you, but so do women. If you had a man, be honest, you had a man and you went to your man and said, oh, I've got this problem, I can't fix this, it's broken, the car tire's broken. And he went, I don't know. You would dry up. Like, you'd be like, well, fucking, what the fucking point are you? That's the truth. You could sit here and go, oh, we'd call a mechanic. No, you wouldn't. You'd look at your man and go, what do you mean you can't fix it?
I'll do it myself, waste man.
And this is what she's saying about your man will get up and go, and you know what's beautiful about masculinity? A bunch of times a man will go up and he doesn't have a clue how to fix it himself. Mm-hmm. But he'll go, don't worry, baby, okay. And he'll stand up with no money and no clue. And he'll go out there and try and find a way because as a man, you need to be useful. It is so difficult to be a man. You have no idea the amount of pressure that we're under from society and from the women we even want to associate with. On a whole, it's difficult. So you have to keep all these things in mind. It's hard.
It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless.
Listen, life is extremely difficult as a man. It's very hard. There is no way I can tell you to win unless you're a top tier man. I can't sit here and give you a cheat code that allows you to stay a loser and win. I can only tell you what I've done. I became extremely wealthy. I became extremely capable. I became extremely smart. I developed a vast network of individuals that nobody wants to mess with. And I set up a life that makes me difficult to damage. That's what I did. I believe that a man's life is difficult and that he has a sacred duty to become strong to handle such difficulty. I believe men are personally responsible for their actions and for the results they achieve in their lives. I'm saying if you want to live the life I live and you want to have all the things I have, of course, it's going to be difficult. But I have absolute respect for anyone who gets up in the morning and faces their demons and gets it done. Because life as a man is fucking hard. It is really hard to do.